This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi everyone, I'm Meteo Mundo Chief Meteorologist Rusty McCready. This is your Caribbean update for Wednesday, August 30th, 2023. Keeping a close eye on Idalia as it moves inland right now, and we'll have the latest on Franklin as well. But the big story is still what's happening with Idalia, so we'll zoom in on that. As Idalia made landfall earlier this morning in the Big Bend area of Florida, unfortunately brought some catastrophic storm surge to those areas. Now Idalia, although it's weakened, is still going to bring some significant wind and rain to portions of South Georgia and coastal South Carolina. They're going to get a storm surge as well that could be fairly significant in places like Savannah up towards Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So we'll have to watch out for that. Idalia will then move back into the western Atlantic as we go over the next 48 hours. Franklin is beginning to weaken as it moves into the cooler waters of the North Atlantic. Again, moving away from Bermuda right now. Two other areas to mention. We have Tropical Depression number 11, but that is a system that's going to fizzle out very, very quickly. Will more than likely lose tropical characteristics in the next 48 hours as it again moves into the open waters of the North Atlantic. And this area in yellow is an interest area, but there's only a 10% chance of development with it. So we're not expecting that to develop as it again moves into some unfavorable conditions as it moves farther up to the north. Let's look at what's happening across the Caribbean basin right now. I want to put this high resolution GFS model into motion and just show you that it's going to be relatively dry in many locations the next several days across the Caribbean and the western Atlantic as well. We might get a couple of showers for places like Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago, maybe up towards Montserrat, but nothing out of the ordinary. Still many dry hours in locations. A couple of showers could develop over the Dominican Republic and Haiti as well, but we're talking about some choice locations. Again, there's going to be a lot of dry locales over the next 48 hours or so for the Bahamas. Now, look, we're going to get some rain left over from Idalia, but the bigger story is going to be the wind. I'm going to highlight that in a minute. But again, this model is going to cycle back through here for Wednesday, and you'll start to see at least some showers developing here, especially as we get into Thursday afternoon. So it's not going to be completely dry. And any rain that develops, we're going to see some squally conditions because we are still going to have some very brisk south winds. You can see here on the model as we get into Thursday, still some scattered showers and a few storms around. But again, the big story with what's happening right now in the Bahamas is actually going to be the wind. And I want to put that on this display and loop that for you. You can see that the winds are going to be significant. We're going to have south winds at around 20 to 30 knots offshore. There's going to be very breezy conditions, very gusty conditions really, as Idalia moves away from the area for us here. This will loop back in just a second, and you'll see that on Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday evening, you can see those very significant winds across Walker's Key, Grand Bahama, Freeport, Lucaya, portions of Abaco on over towards Eleuthera, so Marsh Harbor included in that, even some breezy conditions for Nassau. This will begin to abate or weaken a bit on Thursday, but it really won't be until Friday. And I think the winds and the seas will finally begin to relax a bit. So we're still going to have some very rough boating conditions outside for the next couple of days in the northwest Bahamas. Again, very significant, large, dangerous easterly swells, very brisk south winds, 20 to 30 knots. It'll be a little bit calmer in your protected areas, but you get into the exposed waters of the Atlantic, and it could be quite dangerous to be out there. The marine forecast for today and tomorrow for Grand Bahama, again, south winds today, 20 to 30 knots, southwest winds tomorrow, 15 to 25 knots. Seas are kind of all over the place. They're averaging around 3 to 5 feet, but you get into the exposed waters of the Atlantic and you're going to be looking at some 7 to 11 foot swells. So dangerous swells will continue, the easterly swells to northeast swells right on through tomorrow. The Bahamian Department of Meteorology has actually urging small craft to remain in port. And again, those seas will be much higher in exposed waters. 5-day forecast for Grand Bahama. Whatever rain develops is going to be a lot of wind with it the next couple of days. So kind of squally conditions, breezy on your Thursday. And then we're looking pretty good. We're going to see the winds and seas relax as we get into our Labor Day weekend. Just a 20% chance for showers. Daytime highs that will remain in the upper 80s. For San Juan, a heat advisory continues for today. Feels like temperatures of 108 to 111. I know it doesn't look that hot with a high of just 87, but morning lows in San Juan over the next 5 days are going to remain in the lower 80s. There's barely any drop in temperature overnight, so just very stifling conditions, and there's just not a lot of rain in the forecast to help things out. As a matter of fact, as we get into the weekend and on Monday, basically no chance for rain with highs staying in the upper 80s. That's the latest. If you like this content, all we ask you to do to get the newest information is like and subscribe right here to Meteo Mundo.